Welcome back to the Cine-Ops Podcast. Every episode, I watch a different movie. I narrate to you. We talk about it. We joke. We're movie folks. You know, that's what we do here. We're movie people. And for this episode, it's let me see. I wanted to do 4th of July weekend, right? It's 4th of July weekend this Friday, and it's also the Jaws 50th anniversary, right? So 50 years of this movie Jaws, and I hope all you guys are doing well. I hope you've been watching movies. I hope you've been listening to the podcast. I hope you're hanging out. All right. I hope you're hanging in there, drinking water, have a good time, whatever. I'm gonna stop saying whatever. I'm sorry. In the last episode, when I was editing it, I noticed I was saying whatever, 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 whatever. You know what I mean? I was saying it too much, and it was annoying me while I was editing it. I know more words than that. So come on. All right? Use big words. Use your words. So the movie Jaws came out 50 years ago. What is that? 50 years ago is 25? 75. It was 1975. Think about that. Man, like, I wonder, to make a great movie when there was, like action movies, because we had like black and white silent films. Movies weren't that crazy yet, right? But then in the 70s and the 80s and that, movies started getting good, right? There was action movies. There was color. Arnold Schwarzenegger was around. Steven Spielberg. This one is made by Steven Spielberg. And Steven Spielberg has done a lot of great movies. Yeah, he's a very famous director, of course. But anyway, the movie Jaws. Since then, we've had a lot of shark development, I think, in culture, in the human race. We know about sharks, right? We know hammerheads, great whites, lemon sharks, tiger sharks, right? There's Shark Week on Discovery Channel, where like one time of the year, I think it might be June, in the summertime, right? Well, right when it's time for the beach, they do Shark Week just to remind people, hey, there's sharks. These sharks are for real. There's sharks out here. But 50 years ago, people they didn't know about that. They were barely figuring out. Let me see, 1975. I don't know what was going on back then. But for sure, they didn't have all the information we had now, especially about sharks. So the movie Sharks takes place in New England, I think it was. So the movie Jaws takes place 50 years ago now in a city called Amityville? Or is that the scary movie? Let me see. Let me read it. The town is called Amity Island. Amity. I think it's Amity. And our main character is the police chief. And now this police chief, he's new in town. He's the new chief. He's from the big city. He's from New Jersey or New York City or whatever. And he's now the sheriff of this coastal town, right? So he's still not used to it. But the night before the main day, right? There's some college kids. They got the bonfire going. You know how it is to be young and all the sexual tension between a group of teenagers, right? And they're drinking, having bonfire, and this girl, she thinks this guy's kind of cute. This guy thinks she's kind of cute. They're looking at each other, and they're like, "Hey, come on, let's go over here, right? Get away from the crowd, get away from the campfire." And the girl's like, "Hey, try to catch me," right? It's like a romantic thing, not a "Hey, I'm gonna catch you." It's so she's like, "Oh, come catch me." So he's chasing her. They're both a little drunk. I think he's really drunk, and he's chasing her, and she's like, "Come on, chase me into the water." There's a few places I don't like going in after dark. The forest, the water. I just don't think it's a good idea. So she's like, "Come on, follow me," right? And she's being all seductive, taking off her clothes, and she goes skinny dipping. We can't see because we see the silhouettes of them, right? It's nighttime, the moonlight, the ocean. She strips down, she jumps into the water, and she's like having fun. She's like, "Oh, wow." She's like, "Oh." And the dude's like, he's drunk, he's trying to get undressed. He falls on the beach. And he passes out, right? Because he's so drunk, so tired. He like undresses, he passes out. And the girl, she's like, "Oh, oh, he's going to catch me anytime soon. And she's swimming. And then we hear it. Dun, dun. Oh. Dun, dun. That's the famous Jaws sound. Da-dum, da-dum. And we see something watching her, right? We can see her silhouette. She's swimming. She's having a good time. And something grabs her, right? Grabs her leg. And she's, oh, what was that? And it pulls her harder. And it pulls her harder, right? Like, it's not a game. It's not a game. It pulls her harder. And she's, oh, what is that? And what is that? And then we see her from the top of the water. The dude, he's passed out on the shore. We see her on the top of the water. She's getting like, oh, ragdoll. Ragdoll's like, oh, what's happening? Boom. And it goes quiet. Something got her, dragged her. She's gone. She's gone now. And the dude's passed out on the shore. And then it's the next morning. The coach wakes up. He's new in town. He's like, yeah, babe. He's talking to his wife, talking to his son. He's like, yeah, I got to go. I got to call this morning, something, whatever. I got to go. I got to call this morning. I got to go check something out. Right. So he goes and he got called to the beach, right, where the girl went missing. And it's the guy that was chasing her. And he's like, yeah, I don't know where she went. She's missing. And, the police chief's like, are you sure she didn't just, she bailed on you, bro. She didn't like you. She just wanted to flirt a little. Maybe she just wanted to flirt. She just wanted to be chased a little, bro. That's all. Maybe she just left you hanging, right? She ran out on you. He's like, nah, I don't think so. Right when they're saying that, a deputy down the beach, he's blowing his whistle. And you see him, he's blowing his whistle, and he's like, pale. Let me try. Now, so the deputy's like, he's blowing his whistle. He's super scared. And then we see the girl's hand. It's just this part of the girl's hand. And then they kind of go a little further, and they see the girl's torso or whatever's left of her, right? And she's being eaten by crabs and seaweed and everything like that. It's disgusting. So now the audience, I'm imagining the audience. I'm imagining the audience in 1975. Let's see. If you're 30 years old in 1975, imagine being an adult. Imagine being 40 years old in 1935. You've been through a good amount. Never sharks. Yeah, I mean, you went through the Second World War, whatever. I don't remember. I don't know exactly. Maybe a little bit of the Vietnam. And now you got to worry about sharks, right? You survived the Vietnam War. Now you got to worry about sharks. World War II happened. Now you got to worry about sharks. And this girl, she's tore up. She's gone. And then the chief, he goes back. He's writing the report. He's on the typewriter, right? So he's writing the police report on the typewriter. The girl went missing. There's a shark in the water. But this is a coastal town. It's a beach town. So the mayor comes to talk to the chief because, the mayor caught wind of this. He's like, oh, this is bad for business. This is what the mayor's thinking. The chief, he's like, hey, we got to keep these people safe. We got to keep them out of the water. We have to let them know. But the mayor's like, listen, look, you're new here, right? He's giving them that kind of, listen, hey, let's understand each other, right? He's trying to butter them up. He's trying to get them to understand that we need this tourist money, right? The money from 4th of July that's going to keep us afloat. This is where we make our money, our bread and butter, or whatever kind of corrupt politics is going on. Corrupt politics has been around forever. And he's telling them, listen, all I'm asking is for you to wait maybe till after. Let's do it on Monday. And so he's like, yeah, we got to tell the press, whatever, high alert, close the beaches, right? That's his whole thing. And he's like, where do we keep the beach closed signs? He's like, oh, we've never had to close the beach. We don't have closed beach signs. So he's like, how about this? Let's just wait to close the beaches till Monday, right? Let's get it. Everybody wants to come swim, whatever. Tourism, we need the money. Let's just wait till Monday or whatever. Send up the report. Let's just have the weekend and it'll just stay between us, all right? Between the mayor, the chief, the deputy, a few people. It'll just stay between us. How about that? Come on, do me a solid. People always try to guilt you. And the chief, he's like, all right, but we gotta do something. And then the chief, his main duty is to keep people safe, but he agrees to it. He, for whatever reason, he felt he got pressured into it, and he agrees. All right, I'll send the report Sunday night or something. He's like, all right, there. The mayor's happy. He's like, yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. So then the crowd comes in, right? The tourism. They come on the cruise ships because I think they're on an island. This is an island. So they come in on the cruise ships. They're going to have a good time, right? Have a beach time. Do a beach town. Do a beach day, right? So everybody's having fun. Chief, the crowd's at the beach. The chief's at the beach. But the chief, he's on edge. He's like everything, like, people talking to him. He's like, yeah, He keeps looking. He keeps scanning the horizon, right? He's looking for that shark fin, any kind of suspicious activity. And, he's just watching. He's paranoid. He's the only one that knows. And then, all the regular people, they're like, hey, Chief, good morning. Oh, okay, yeah, nice. Yeah, good morning. See you, bye. And every time you think there's something over there. What is it? Oh, it's just a dude playing a prank on his girlfriend. He's like, okay, yeah. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's just a dude on another dude or whatever. And then somebody sees something. Right? Somebody sees something swimming in the water, a dark shadow, something big, something aquatic. There's something aquatic in the water. And somebody sees it, and he sees what it is. There's a guy he sees. He's like, it's a shark, and he yells, shark. And he starts running. There's them little girls right here, like pushes him out of the way. He jumps over the thing. He's out of there. And everybody sees the panic, and everybody starts panicking. Everybody's like, there's a shark in the water. Everybody get out of the water. Right? And the people on the shore, they're like, get out of the water. And the people in the water are like, oh, they're running for their lives. They're swimming and running for their lives. Right? And then everybody comes out of the water. But there's one lady. And she's like, Mikey. No, not Mikey. She's like, where's my son? Where's my son? I see my son. And then you just see his little, like, floaty, right? And it's so crazy to see, right? You just see his floaty all ripped up and just blood. There's blood in the water and it's floating. She's like, no. She lost the son. The shark claimed another victim. He's gone. Mikey's gone. This is what the chief is worried about. He's like, hey, we're going to lose another person. There's panic everywhere like this. This could have been avoided, right? But the mayor, right? That shady mayor, slimy, shiesty dude. The mayor was like, come on, let's just push we don't have to do this. We don't have to close the beaches for money, of course. Profit. That kid died because the mayor wanted to make some profit. Right? So now there's a town meeting and they're like, what are we going to do? The shark. What are we going to do? Right? So all the elders of the town, right? The townsfolk or city council, whoever, they're all deciding, what are we going to do? We're not going to make any money. We're not going to do this. The shark is dangerous. This and that. Whatever. And they start talking over each other, right? They don't know what to do. They're like, we're bringing in an oceanographer. We're bringing in an oceanographer. He'll be able to give us more information, whatever, this and that. And he's like, all right, we're just going to the mayor's like, yeah, we're just going to shut it down for 24 hours. No big, right? He already lost one kid, right? One of the townspeople's kids, he lost him. And the mayor's still doing shady stuff. And everybody's like, no, we can't. Some people are like, yeah, we need to, this and that. And there's panic. There's a commotion in the room. And it's all silence over the sound of nails scratching down a chalkboard. Right? Everybody's like talking over each other and you hear, here, let me try it. All right, you get it. Nails on the chalkboard. And who is it? The saltiest of salty sailors. Right? This guy. His name's Quinn. And he's cool, man. Picture just like a salty granddad. You know what I mean? You meet somebody and they're just salty. You know what I mean? And for salt, I don't know if all of you use the word salty because when you're salty about something, it means like you're bothered, right? Oh, right. So let's say somebody got promoted over you and you're salty about it. But then also they're salty as in you've been through it, right? You've been through so much you could see it on your face. You're salty. Oh, that's a salt dog right there. Oh, he's salty. He's been, he's experienced. He's weathered experience. This is kind of salty. And Quinn, right, Captain Quinn, he says, me, You know how I make my living? What kind of accent does he have? I don't really know this area of the world, right? In the northeast. But he's like, you know me, you know how I make my living. Let me read you what he says, because he's probably one of the coolest characters in the movie. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. So now that I'm seeing this, so the reason Quinn act up is because they decided to put a bounty on the shark's head, so that way all the fishermen, all these people, they can go out into the ocean and hunt the shark, and whoever gets the shark wins $3,000. And Captain Quinn, right, he's a salty fisherman. That's when he scratches the board and he's like, you know me, oh my living, this and that, whatever. But if you want to find it and kill it, I'll find it. For $3,000, I'll find it. I'm not going to do everything for you. But if you want me to kill it, because you know I'm capable. Quinn is like, you know I'm the dude that can kill this shark. Because I'm salty like that. And if you want that done, it's going to cost 10,000 of them things. And he kind of just like says that. He's like, yeah, well, you know what it is. If you want the shark caught and killed, it's going to be 10 bands. And he walks out. He walks out of there. And then the chief, he's just like, he's shook, right? Because technically, that kid died because of the decision he agreed to. So now he's like at home looking at encyclopedias of information about sharks, and you're seeing all this stuff, and you can see that they're cold-blooded, whatever. They're indestructible. They can't be killed. They're the toughest. They're the fastest, and everything that he reads, all the information. People are, I could just see the audience, and they're like, "Oh my God, the sharks! Oh my goodness, these sharks are crazy!" Right? So the chief is like, "Look, we got to keep our kids, like, it's a coastal town, so everybody's like on the rowing team, on the swimming team, whatever. Everybody's in the water. Everything happens in the water here. So now that the water is incredibly dangerous, they got to keep everybody out. So the chief is like, I don't want my kid near the water, right? So now he's like, he knows that this shark doesn't care about kids. He's going to eat everybody. So there's a few fishermen, they're trying to catch the shark. And they go out to the pier. They throw a big old chunk of meat into the water with a big old hook on it. And they're kind of just waiting around. And then that hook, it catches something, right? There's something on the line. And they're like, oh, let's pull it in. It must be the shark. And they try to pull it in, but the shark's so strong, it rips off a section of the pier. So where the dude was standing, he falls. He's floating, right? And then you could see that fin come up, right? These sharks fast. So the sharks start gaining on him. He's like, please help me up. Hey, buddy. And he's like, come on, I got you. Come on, I'm not going to let you go. So he's like, they help each other up. And in the last second, he gets out of the water. And the shark disappears. And so now we're like, we're being taunted. As an audience, we're being taunted by the shark. Because while they're having a meeting, right, the council's over there, the shark's swimming around. He's in the water, right? And then later that night, we meet the young oceanographer, right? And he's like, he's not really like a college kid. He's probably like he's like a salty college kid. You know what I mean? So he loves oceanography or whatever. And he's doing research, and he meets up with the chief, right? He meets up with the chief, and they're talking about what could be, this and that, whatever. And they're gathering information. They're piecing it together. I mean, we know it's a shark, so I don't know what. I guess he wants to know where is he? But right? But the oceanographer is there to give us facts to scare us as an audience. And it does, right? Especially when this movie came out, of course, everybody was shook. I'm sure nobody went in the water. So the next morning, a group of men, they're like, yeah, we caught the shark, y'all. Yeah, we got him. We caught the shark, y'all. And they go over there, and the oceanographer, right, he goes over, he's like, that's weird. He goes over there, and he's like measuring the shark's mouth. Like, and then he doesn't say it in front of everybody. He says it to the chief, to the mayor, kind of on the side. Hey, listen, guys, I know everybody decided to cut the shark. This is a shark, right? For sure, this is a shark, but this is a tiger shark, right? This shark is a tiger shark. This shark couldn't have eaten the girl the night before and the kid yesterday. It's the wrong shark. So the mayor's like, how could it be? No, we got a shark. How many sharks could there be? He's like, look, listen to me. I'm a professional oceanographer. I don't think this is a shark. One way to check to see and be sure, so we could be sure, we'll cut it open in the digestive tract. There'll be a body. right? One of those people's bodies. He just ate it yesterday. There'll be a body in there, right? So they're like, oh. So the mayor's like, oh no, because he knows, because it's coming from a professional. He knows, oh, maybe this isn't the shark. But he wants this to be over with so he can open the beaches, tourism come in. So the oceanographer, right? So he's like, I'm gonna go on a boat. I'm gonna go check something out, something in the ocean, right? And he goes, and it's, the sun sets, it's night, but he's an oceanographer. He's about this life. He puts on his scuba gear and he's like checking something out. I don't remember exactly how he knows where to go, right? But he's checking out this area in the outskirts of the ocean area, and he's underwater, right? He sees that there's like a sunken ship, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird." I don't know. I don't remember what signs he had for this. Like, why did he know to go there, right? But he's checking out the ruins of this sunken ship, and there's a hole. There's a hole in the side of there's a hole in the side of the boat, and he's like, "Huh. Oh, there's something there." And he pulls, right? He goes to the hole, right? He has this big old flashlight, and there's like a tooth. There's a shark tooth in the edge of the hole. And he's like, oh man, look at this, right? He pulls it out, and it's huge. So he's looking at it. He's like, oh no, because he knows what it is. But right then, a body comes floating out of the hole, right? And he's like missing an eye and everything. He's like, jump scare, right? So he's like, ah. He drops the tooth. Like, ah. That's what we all did, ah. And he floats. He swims away. He gets out of there. He swims away. And then he's like he has to meet up with the chief and the mayor so the police chief, the mayor and all that. And they're talking about the shark, right? The shark that they caught. And, the people are there. I don't remember if this is the next day or the same day, but the people are there, right? And the woman that lost her kid the day before, the one that was like, where's my son? Where is he? The one that shark got, she's dressed in all black, right? She's in mourning. And she comes up to the chief. And she says, I found out that the night before, a girl went missing in the ocean. A girl went missing. And they found her remains, and she was attacked by a shark. And you chose not to close the beaches. And she like smacks him, right? Smacks him. And the chief, he's like, it's true. You know what I mean? This is what you're saying is true. So he's just like, shame, right? He just feels shameful. So he's just looking at her like, sorry, because he has a kid too. So he's like, oh, sorry. And she slaps him. He just takes it, right? And then she leaves. And then later that night, he's at dinner. He's all sad because, the kid died. They don't know what to do. It's not the shark. And then the oceanographer comes. And he's like, I made a discovery. I know what, whatever. He's like, what is it? Right, they're going over the facts. The oceanographer's like, the tooth that I found at that shipwreck, it belonged to a great white. So I'm guessing like before you knew about sharks, the audience is like, what? Great whites? What are that? So they're like, the great white shark is the most dangerous shark. It grows up to be this big, this many rows of teeth. It weighs this much. It's the most dangerous, and it's territorial. So since it's territorial, it must still be out here, right? In this radius, in this area of water, right? So the oceanographer, he goes to the chief with all that information. He's like, it's a great white, this and that. It's dangerous. It must still be out here. And there's no way that shark that we found over there is this shark. So they cut the shark that they did catch. They cut him open, and it's just a bunch of trash in there. He's like, yeah, this definitely isn't the shark that ate that kid and that other kid. So we got to tell the mayor, right? So now it's the next day. And the next day, and the news has spread, right? They already said, hey, guys, we caught that shark. Don't worry about it. Go in the water. Everything's great. And they're at the beach, and they're like, they're sketched out. They're like, we're not going in there. And then the mayor, right, there's this one old man who's always swimming. And the mayor's like, hey, bro, like, why aren't you in the water? He's like, oh, I just don't feel like going in the water today. And he's like, get in the water. Right, so he's like, oh, okay. Right, so the old man goes into the water. And then once the rest of the people see, they're like, oh, okay, it's safe. Or at least, if there is a shark, the odds of him getting me have now increased by 2. Right? And then so many more people, the shark's only going to grab one person. There's 100 people in here. My odds are all right. There are 200 people. I'm all right. Okay. So everybody's in there playing. And everybody's having a good time. And then the chief and the oceanographer, they're telling the mayor, they're like, Mayor, listen, you got to listen to us. Last night, right? They're out of breath there. So they want to tell them that people need to get out of the water. And I found a tooth. It was a great white tooth. And we didn't catch the shark. So he's like, oh, really? So do you have this tooth? Where's the tooth? He's like, oh, I dropped it and it's at the ocean. He's like, oh, yeah, nice try. The beach stays open. Right? So then we see people at the beach. Right? Everybody's having fun. People are swimming. They're swimming in the deep. And then somebody sees something, right? They see something. And before the chief went over there, his son was about to go out on a rowboat with his friends for the row team or whatever. And he's like, son, just stay in the canal, right? Just stay in the lake. Don't go out into the open. And the son's like, all right, Dad, right? So everybody and the coach and everybody, they go over to the lake. So everybody over here is in the open section, and they're splashing, they're having fun, and then somebody sees something, right? Somebody sees something sticking out of the water, and they're like, shark, shark. And they run out of there. Everybody starts running out of there. And then when the Coast Guard and everybody, because all the cops were on boats, everybody was like ready for any kind of shark. When the cops pull up to them, it's just some kids doing a prank. They had like a cardboard fin, scuba gear, and they're just doing a prank pretending to be a shark. And the Coast Guard or the cops are like, oh, false alarm. It was just some kids. But they were ready to shoot them. They were ready to shoot that shark. So they're like, don't worry. It's just a false alarm. It's just some kids. And then we see the canal. Right? So the canal connects to the ocean, and we see something swimming in there. It's Jaws. Right? So the shark is swimming in there, and he's going straight where the boat is, right? And the boat is a few people. The coach is in there, is coaching them, and the coach is like, come on, guys, get in there stronger. And the shark comes out of the water and grabs him, right? Because he's like either really close to the water or hanging out in the water or something. And the shark grabs him. So for the first time, we can see the shark grab somebody, bite him, and thrashing him around. Because we had only seen him like kind of, glimpse here and there, right? We see him at night. We don't really see him. But now we see his eyes. We see his eyes. He grabbed his leg and shaking him around. And then we see the leg floating to the bottom of the water. It lands. Imagine how shook these people were in 1975. We see the leg fall down. And everybody's like, get out of the water. Everybody's shaking. The kids that were in the boat, they fell into the water. But since the shark's attacking this person over here, since the shark's attacking the coach, it gave a chance for the kids to swim. Right? So they're swimming. They make it to the shore. They're safe. And the shark is gone. Coach is gone. So now there's been another casualty. Another casualty directly related to the mayor who didn't listen to shut everything down. So now they're in the hospital with a few of the kids that got scratched up or whatever, and the chief is pissed. And he goes up to the mayor, right when the mayor's, he's like, he corners him. He's like, hey, you got a pen? He's like, yeah, I got a pen. And he pushes him into it. He's like, you're going to sign this contract or whatever, and we're going to hire somebody to kill the shark, right? And he corners him, threatens him a little. Sometimes you got to threaten him a little, So he's like, all right. And who do they hire? Captain Quinn, the salty of salt dogs. And he goes over to him, and now it's Captain Quinn, the oceanographer, who's like a young guy, and chief, right? The police chief. I don't remember his name. And the police, right? The chief telling him, like, Quinn, we need your help. We're going to hire you. We're going to pay you the 10 bands. But you got to take us out there. We're going to help you. We're going to catch and kill this shark. And, and Captain Quinn is giving him a hard time because he's salty. I can't have any, what would you call an unsalty person, right? So, I would call them boots. When I was in the military, you called a new person a boot. Call a new guy a boot. Right? So the oceanographer is like, I'm not a boot. I've sailed with the best of them. I've been in this and this and that. Captain Quinn's like, oh, really? Tie me a whatever knot. And he's like, oh. Right, he grabs the knot. He's like, you didn't even tell me how short you wanted it. And he ties it, right, perfectly. There's your fucking knot right there. He's like, Captain Quinn's like, all right, we'll go. And he takes them, right? They're off in a tugboat called the Orca. So now these boys, they're out in the open ocean on the boat, right? And Quinn, he's sitting in his captain's chair, kind of like in like in a fishing position. And he has the police chief, who technically is, even though on land he's a police chief, he's a chief of police. Out here, you're a boot. I don't know what would it be called on a ship? We got any sailors out there? What is it called when you're a brand new sailor? Anyway, so he's a new guy, so he's chumming, right? He's taking buckets of chum, throwing it out because the blood, right? Sharks love blood and all that. So he's throwing the chum out here. He's sick of it. He's making him throw up. Quinn, the oceanographer, he has all kinds of gadgets, technology, compressed air, scuba tanks, and that. And Quinn, he's against that because he's salty. All I need is this boat and these hooks, this fishing line, whatever. He's old school, oceanographer's new school, police chief. He's the chum boy, and he's chumming. And and then they see something. They see something in the water, and they think it's the shark, right? So they throw a line out there, and they're holding on to it, right? You see Quinn, he puts on this big old harness that's hooked to his chair, that's hooked to his fishing pole, and he starts pulling, right? He's like, all right, boys, now we're gonna do whatever, right? And they start, and it hooks on the line. The shark hooks onto the line, and they start pulling, and it's like a fight, and it's over. He got away somehow. I don't know if he snapped the line. They weren't ready. This shark was bigger than they thought. They thought it was gonna be a couple feet tall, a couple feet long. It turns out this shark is stronger than that. A fishing line won't do. So the shark breaks away from their first fight. Some time goes by. They see if he comes back. And Captain Quinn's like, all right, chief. Some more chum in the water. Right? So he's like, oh, I hate chum in the water, right? And he's throwing the chum. And he's saying something to Quinn, right? So as he's throwing it into the water, the shark comes out of the water, right? He almost snatches his ass, right? And then Chief, he turns to look at it. He sees him. He sees the size of the shark. And he's shook, right? And he stands up. His glasses almost fall off. And he backs up, right? He backs up into the cabin where Captain Quinn is. And he's like, we're going to need a bigger boat. Right? So Captain Quinn's like, what is it? We saw him. And he's like, what? Where is he? What? You saw him? Where is he? And he's like, no, let's call back in. We got to call for a bigger boat. Because he saw the size of the shark. The shark is almost the size of the boat. So he's like, we're going to need a bigger boat. That's one of the famous lines of the movie. So the shark is circling the boat, right? The shark wants to fight, right? They already tried to fish him once. Now it's personal to the shark. We're going to have to fight this one out. But they're ready, right? They're ready. They're salty. A couple of salty sailors, right? So the tugboat's moving like this. And they're like, all right, we got a plan. So they have a harpoon gun. The harpoon gun has a line connected to a barrel. And the rope connected to the harpoon gun is a certain length. The rope connected to the harpoon is a certain length. So that means this barrel that's hooked up to, it's full of air, right? Buoyancy. So the shark, once he's hooked up, he won't be able to go down a certain depth. He won't be able to dive, and he'll kind of have to hang out at the top, and then that way they'll be able to find him, shoot him again, wear him down, kill him, fish him out, whatever. That's the plan, these shark hunters. That's the plan. So the shark's coming in. The boat's moving this way. The water's moving this way. The shark is moving this way. And like, hold her steady now. Hold her steady, boys. Right? And Captain Quinn shoots the shark, right? Hits him right in that gullet, boy. Hits him right in the gullet. The barrel goes flying into the ocean. And he's swimming away. You can see where he is now because he has a barrel attached to him. So that's a success. The plan is working so far. They lured the shark. They found him. Now they have one barrel coming up. So if the shark, they have a barrel hooked up to the shark. So now if the shark ever comes up to a certain depth, they'll be able to know because there's a barrel. So they'll know, oh, he's that way. He's coming in. Get ready for another attack or whatever it is. So they're waiting it out. And finally it's nighttime. And it's nighttime. They go into the cabin, right? And they're having a nice moment, right? They're all having a few drinks. They're getting to know each other. And these people that weren't really a team to begin with, they're finally accepting each other. They're drunk. They're sharing stories. They're singing songs. They're laughing. And in this, they start comparing tattoos, scars, right? So the oceanographer, he has a few scars because he's been on a few sailboats before. And he's like, oh, I got this. I got that. Battery is dying. We're back. I had to fix the battery. A little bit of technical difficulties. Didn't charge Didn't charge the batteries. Didn't have things ready. It's been 24 hours. I couldn't find the battery charger. So we put the battery. This is the next day. That's if everything looks a little different. This is the next day. All right. Back. So they're below deck. They're having a few drinks. They're talking to each other. They're laughing. They're swapping stories. And they're drunk, right? They're a little drunk. They're singing sea shanties, laughing. And they start comparing tattoos and scars. And he's like, oh, this is from this. They're having a good time. They're laughing at the, a few of the scars that they have, they're scratches or cuts. A few of them, am I recording? Yes. A few of them are funny stories, right? And then Chief, the police chief, he sees one on Captain Quinn's arm, and he's like, oh, what about that one, right? What happened there? And the mood shifts, right? Something changes, right? Because this, we were joking about all these other ones, but this tattoo, right? He has a scar right here. He's like, I had a tattoo removed. It used to say the USS Indianapolis. And everything, I don't know what that was, right? So when I saw this, I didn't know what that was. So I'm like, oh, the U.S., it's a ship, obviously. All right, but when he says the USS Indianapolis, they get down, the mood changes. They're sad. They're like, oh, it was one of those, oh, right? One of those moments like, oh, that's a big reason why you're such a salt dog, right? Why you're so salty. And they're like, oh, sorry, we didn't mean to intrude. We didn't mean to cross any lines. We didn't know what was going on. And he's like, no, it's all right. Right? He's like, he's saying, no, it's all right. It's all right. And this is the best. What happens next? What Captain Quint says next, there's no way I can do it any justice. This is probably one of the best monologues, the best acting in a monologue that I've seen in any movie so far, I think. Captain Quinn's monologue. Check it out. If you don't watch the whole movie, listen to what I'm telling you. This is, you're getting the synopsis here. Go over there and watch it. Watch this actor do the monologue. I have it here. I'm gonna read it. I can't really do his voice. I'll do a little bit, right? I'll do the inflections and the cadence of what I think Captain Quinn is, but the actual voice and the actual delivery from the movie, like no other. I'm not like nothing I've ever seen before, right? All right. So they ask him about the tattoo. He says, yeah, it's for the U.S. Indianapolis. So now we know he was on a ship, right? When he was in the Navy, he was on a ship. And then they're like, oh wow, okay, cool. So they're like, okay. And he says, a Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side, Chief. It was coming back from the island of Tainan. It was coming back from the island of Tainan, where we had just delivered the bomb. The Hiroshima bomb, World War II. 1,100 men went into the water. 1,100 men went into the water. Vessel went down in 12 minutes. Didn't see the first shark for about half an hour. Tiger, 13-footer. You know how to tell how long when you're in the water, Chief? You tell by looking at them from dorsal to tail. Well, we didn't know, because our bomb mission had been so secret, no distress signal had been sent. They didn't even list us overdue for a week. Very first light, Chief, the sharks come a-cruising. So we form ourselves in tight groups. It's kind of like old squares in battle, like you see in a calendar, like the Battle of Waterloo. And the idea was, when he start pounding and hollering and screaming, sometimes the sharks would go away. Sometimes he wouldn't go away. Sometimes that shark looks right into you. You know that thing about sharks? Got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, doesn't seem to be living. until he bites you, and those black eyes roll over white. And then you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming, and the ocean turns red, spite of all the pounding and hollering. They all come in and rip you to pieces. You know, by the end of the first dawn, I lost hundreds of men. I don't know how many shark, maybe 1,000. I don't know how many men. They averaged 6 an hour. Thursday morning, Chief, I bumped into a friend of mine, Herbie Robinson from Cleveland, baseball player. I thought he was asleep. I reached over to wake him up, bobbed up and down in the water, just like a kind of top, upended. But he'd been bitten in half below the waist. Noon, the 5th day, Mr. Hooper is the oceanographer. A Lockheed Ventura saw us. He swung in low and saw us. He's a young pilot, a lot younger than you, Mr. Hooper. Anyway, he saw us come in low, and 3 hours later, PBY comes down and starts picking us up. And you know, that was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I'll never put on a life jacket again. So 1,100 men went in the water. 316 men came out, and the shark took the rest. June 29th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the bomb. Oh, man. Oh, that's good writing. Even better delivery, right? You got to go watch that scene in Jaws. So good. So salty, right? So now they just heard that story, that true story from Captain Quinn, and they're shook, right? They're shook, and they can see the saltiness in them. They understand it now. But all when that's happening, the shark, you forget, right? You're listening to the story, you forget. You're in the water, bro. You're in the water looking for the shark. You forget it's nighttime. The shark is around there. They're hunting the shark, or they're hunting the shark, or is the shark hunting them? Right? So they're out there, and it's dawn, and they look out, and there's the barrel, right? You can see the barrel, because now when you see the barrel, you know it's attached to the shark. So he's over there. So it's morning, and they finally see the barrel. The shark is kind of like doing circles around him. He's kind of like hanging out, kind of watching him. It's a territorial animal, right? So they're like, all right, we need to fire that second barrel on him. And then for the first time, you see the shark swim up next to the boat, and you can see it's half the size of the boat. It's a giant shark. And Chief, right, the police chief, he's like, oh no, we gotta call this in. This shark's too crazy. We can't do it. And he wants to call in the Coast Guard or the backups, right? And Captain Quinn, now we know that he's salty, right? He's also a little crazy. He's a little crazy, and he sees the shark, and he knows that this fight is gonna be epic. This fight is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a great white fight. And he's kind of snapped, right? He's a little crazy. And he takes his machete. He has a machete or a baseball bat. I forget what it was. And he goes and he busts the radio, right? He cracks the radio, and he's like, "We're not calling for another ship." Right? And the police chief is like, "What I get myself into?" Right? And they get up there. They got the plan. They fire another harpoon on him. So now the shark has 2 barrels attached to him, right? So they know. And then once the amount of barrels, the buoyancy and all that, he's not going to let the shark dive back in. So he's going to wear him out. Whatever the plan is, right? He's a professional. Whatever the plan is, they're going to wear out this shark. And then when he's dead or when he's tired, they're going to slit his throat or something. I don't know. The shark has 2 barrels attached to it. And now the plan is they're going to pull up the boat next to where the shark is. And they're going to grab the ropes with these harpoon sticks, right? So harpoon sticks. So the chief and the oceanographer, they're doing this. And they grab the ropes, and it's a shark. Yeah, it's heavy, it's hard. So they hook them up to the cleats at the back of the ship, right, where you tie the ropes, and they're like, "Yeah, we got him," right? And they got the tugboat, they got him in full throttle. They're like, "Come on, let's lure him out of here. Let's fight again." But the shark, he's a great white. He's the greatest of the whitest. He's not giving in. He's not letting go, and he's swimming the opposite direction. So they really got to pull him. But the cleats on the ship, the hardware of the ship, they're not bolted in all the way, or they're salty too, right? They've been weathered, right? And they're not as tight as they should be. It's loose, and it's dangerous, and it's damaging the boat. It's breaking the boards. The motor's gonna go out. There's nothing else they can do. They're like, Quinn, we gotta cut the line. We gotta cut the line. And then he's like, no, we just gotta keep going, right? And he's really pushing the engine. Like there's smoke. Water's coming in to the engine room. Smoke is coming out of the engine room. He's pushing it to its limit. It's gonna break. The boat is breaking. The rope is breaking. One of them, I think Chief or Hopper, one of them is bleeding. It's chaos. And they're like, Quinn, you gotta cut the line. And the motor gives out. And now they're stuck. The back of the boat's breaking. And Quinn goes like, all right. Right, and he cuts the line. And the shark wins this battle, right? He wins this one. Right? He was like, all right, we're at least gonna get another barrel on him. So they cut the line. And they at least hook another barrel, right? I don't know if it was before or after. So they harpoon him again while the shark was nearby. And now the shark has 3 barrels. And they can see the shark, right? He's swimming towards the boat. And then Quinn's like, no shark will be able to dive with 3 barrels. We got him. It's just a matter of time. And the shark dives with 3 barrels. And that's why they're like, oh, the shark. You know, they're looking at it. The shark just dived with 3 barrels. What level of shark is this? Right? So I always picture the audience in 1975. They ain't no shit. In 1975. They're like, oh my God, we got to stay out of the water. So now this giant great white shark, he just dove with 3 barrels. That was their plan. Their plan was to tire him out. We're men. We can outsmart this creature. They didn't take into account the tenacity and the weight and the strength of this shark, the size of this shark. So the shark disappears underwater again. 3 barrels, 3 empty 5-gallon, not 5-gallon buckets, but like drums, right? These giant plastic drums. And he just dove with them, right? So now they're stuck, right? Their boat doesn't have an engine. They're out of harpoons. They're out of bullets. Whatever it is. And so Quinn, right, realizing that all his old salty dog tricks, shark hunting tricks are done, he looks at Hopper, right, this young oceanographer. He says, well, Mr. Hopper. And he says, well, Mr. Hopper, what can you do? What can you do with these tools? With these tools of yours? What can you do with these new tools of yours? I don't know why I keep doing Irish. I don't know why I keep leaning to an Irish accent. He doesn't have an Irish accent. I don't know what it is. I didn't practice it before this. But he's like, you know, that's the handoff, right? In the movie, we see the handoff from the old salty sea dog to the new young sailor with a bachelor's degree. And he's like, all right, yeah, I can do this. And he has like this, like a tech spear / injection. And in the injection, he has like, I don't know, whatever, like bleach. I don't know. It's like a poison or a chemical, right? I don't know what it was. No, he has some kind of chemical. He's like, I can inject it. Maybe if I could get close enough, I could inject it through his eye, right? Because the shark's skin is too tough. Right? Like, maybe. So they start coming up with a plan. Like, you know, Hooper, he's like, oh, maybe if I get in the water, I can inject him in the eye and this and that. And then the police chief, is like, God, this is it. We're done. We need to get out of here. But they want to keep catching the shark. They're obsessed with the shark. They can't lose to a shark. Right? So he's like, all right, well, it's, you know, Captain Quinn, he's like, all right, let's try it. And so all the stuff that Hooper had, right, he had a shark cage, right? So they start putting it together. They're putting the compressed, it has tanks, right? It has compressed air for like scuba gear and stuff like that. So the oceanographer, he suits up, right? He's in the scuba gear. They put the tank in the water and they get everything ready, right? Mr. Hooper, the oceanographer, he gets in the water. And, you know, it's like a serious moment. They're like, hey, be careful, bro. We've been hunting this. You know, they don't say it, but it's like, hey, we've become friends. Please be careful. We've been hunting this thing. Now you're going in the water with it. Please be careful, bro. That's what he said in one look. That's what he said. So they lower him into the water. He's into the water and he's looking around. It's all blue, right? He has his mask, he has his instruments, his equipment, and he's looking around. And he takes like the cap off his harpoon, right? He's like looking around. He's like, all right, I'm in the water. And the shark comes up behind him and just rams his cage, right? So he's like, ah. I would never go down there. But anyway, so he's like, the shark is stronger than I thought or whatever. Yeah. So the shark bumps into his cage. So now there's like a big old hole in his cage, right? The bars were like, from one hit, boom, the bars are like open a little bit. So he's like, oh no. And the shark turns around and you can see how huge this thing is, right? And he comes up and he starts beating up the cage again. And the dude, of course, drops his harpoon. The only weapon they had, he drops it, goes to the bottom of the ocean. It's probably like 20 feet. I don't know, maybe 20 feet down. He drops it. So now the shark is attacking it. So now the weight of the shark is on the cage and it's tilting the boat over. And the wooden beam is so old, you could hear it cracking, right? The beam holding up the cage on the boat, it starts cracking, boom, and it gives out. And Chief and Quint, they're like, Police Chief and Captain Quint, they're like, oh no, come on. They're holding it up, they're trying to hook it up to something else, and everything's rickety, right? This whole boat is rickety. And they're trying to reel him up. They're like, no, Hopper, no. But while the shark is attacking the top of the cage, the oceanographer, he slips out the bottom. He slips out the bottom, so the shark is like attacking him, and he slips out the bottom, and he like paddles down to the reef, because like he has a scuba tank on him, you know what I mean? So he can breathe for a little while. So he goes down to where there's some bushes and some reefs and leaves and stuff like that, and he goes down there and he hides out. So now the shark, he's like finishing ripping up the cage, and he finds that he gets off, right? He gets off the cage, and that's when Chief and Captain Quinn, they pull up the cage, and it's just like, it's like a soda can, bro. Imagine like stepping on a soda can, and it's like, oh, this was supposed to protect our buddy. No, not our buddy, right? No, our buddy. But the ship was already damaged. The force was from the shark. Now the ship is taking on water, so the back of the ship is sinking into the water. So the ship is tilted up like this, and they're like, no, our buddy. And the shark comes up and tries to grab him, right? Gets on the boat, and it tilts the boat over. Like the weight of the shark tilts the boat over, and Captain Quinn's like, oh, right, he slips. He's like slips, and he's falling, and he's like trying to find his way up, and the shark's just like, oh, come here, Black, I'm gonna, right? So the shark is like, oh, come here, motherfucker. So Captain Quinn, he like grabs a machete, right? He grabs a machete, and as he's sliding down, he fucking like starts chopping this dude in the face, right? He's chopping the shark in the face, and the police chief, he was able to grab onto some cabinets. Right, he held onto some cabinets. He's holding onto the cabinet. He's like, no, Quinn, no. And then Quinn, he's like, boom, his leg is in the shark's mouth. And he's like, oh, no, oh, the shark, right? And the shark bites him again. Bites his whole limbs. And you just like, you see the blood come out of his mouth. He's like, and the shark takes him. Right, shark takes him underwater. And that's the last we see of the old salt dog. We're like, no, Captain Quinn, he was so cool. No, Captain Quinn, you were so cool. No. So now now it's just the police chief. He's the only one left on the ship. He's the only one on board. And the ship is sinking, right? The water is like water level. And the shark comes in through the window. So what does he do? So there's water everywhere. And you know, the shark's trying to get the police chief. He's the last one left. The shark is literally a murderer now. He loves to murder. He tried to come in through the window. He wasn't able to get the police chief, and he kind of swims away, right? So the shark was trying to come into the window, right? And the police chief, he's trying to climb out of there, throw a whole bunch of stuff in there. And he sees one of the scuba tanks, right? The compressed air that the oceanographer had. He grabs it and he throws it, right? He throws it into the shark, and it's kind of hanging right in the inside of here. So the shark like swims away. He has that thing in his mouth, and he kind of swims away as the ship is sinking. So the police chief, he's running out of options. The only thing he has left is like the mast of the ship is sticking out of the water, and it's slowly going in. But he was able to grab this rifle, right? He grabs his rifle, and he's leaning on the mast as the shark is coming in, and he's aiming at it because he's like, you know what? This is my last option. I'm gonna shoot the shark in the face, right? So he's leaning. The ship is sinking, and the shark is swimming towards him fast as fuck. And he's like, he shoots at him, misses, Boom, he's missing. And it feels like the last shot. You know what I mean? He's out of boat. He's going in the water. The shark is on him. He's out of bullets. All his friends are gone. And he looks at him one last time and he says, "Smile, you son of a bitch." Shoots him right in the gas tank. Hits him right in the gas tank. Pink mist everywhere. Shark blubber and pink mist everywhere. He won. He did it. He beat Jaws. He did it to Jaws. And he won. He's relieved he did it because now he's in the water. He's floating in all this debris of water. And he's like, "Oh, I did it. We killed the shark. We killed the shark. It's just him. We killed the shark." And up comes Hopper, right? He ran out of air, or he had to wait to get depressurized, right? For whatever the scuba rules are. And Hooper comes up, and he sees the boat everywhere. He sees the blood of the shark. And he's like, "Chief, hey, Chief. Yeah, we did it. He's like, we did it. Where's Captain Quinn? Where's Captain Quinn?" Right? Oh, I was sad doing that. Oh. He's like, "Nah, bro. Nah, sorry. He didn't make it." But Captain Quinn, that's a pretty gangster way to go out, bro. Captain Quinn was a pretty cool dude. And that was the way he would have gone. He would have wanted to go out. So Hopper, police chief, they're like, "We did it, man. We saved the town. We killed the shark. We did it." And they pick up some driftwood and they start paddling in, right? They start paddling in. Right? They grab some driftwood, some barrels, some leftover barrels, and they start paddling in. Make it home because the boat's dead. Everything else is dead. So they start paddling in. And all right, just keep kicking. Just keep kicking. And that was the 50th anniversary of the movie Jaws. 1975, Steven Spielberg, Jaws. They did it. They bested Jaws. The Jaws. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I thought it was pretty cool. It was the first time I watched this in a long time. I watched it when I was a kid. But now I understand a little bit more things. And it was pretty cool. It's sitting at a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I really care about Rotten Tomatoes, but 90% audience score. That's more important. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. That was our 4th of July episode. Maybe I'll do another one, 4th of July related. Yeah, Shark Week. Sharks are crazy. Sharks are wild. Let me know what you guys like to watch, what the next episode should be. I'll be here. I'll be doing movies. I'm Alvy. Sharks in the water.